Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. We apologize for that bit of delay for the live stream today. We're going to give a few more users to jump on board for today's live stream for Hi5 VR GLOVE. So let's give them a couple more minutes to just jump on in. And if you're watching, just hang on in there so we can give everyone a chance to join on the stream and ask questions right away. Today, this week has been very exciting for us. We just released the Hi5 VR GLOVE, and we want to do a quick unboxing of what comes inside of the kit, and just take care of some FAQs that we have for everyone from just the common questions that we're seeing this week, and just kind of go over through them. Feel free to bring in a couple of questions during the live stream. We want to answer them for you, and your questions are valuable to us. So feel free to put them on the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now so that we can all take care of everyone out there. So just one more minute for anybody else who needs to join us for today's video. Thank you again for everyone out there that's joining us right now. I also have today's special guest with Alex Alvarez, who will be joining us for today's session for a demonstration of the Hi5. And we're going to also talk about a couple of the new features that we're working on with the, with the interactions and, SDKs that we want to improve as well. So a lot of good things to cover today, and a lot of things to share with you guys going forward. All right. So let's give it a few more, just one more minute, and we'll get started. Give me 1 second so we can get more material here. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So as you know, today's video session is live stream for everyone out there. We want to get some more questions for our VR gloves so that everyone can ask away. And we'll keep this video online so everyone can use this information going forward. Anybody who has any inquiry for the Noidum Hi5 VR glove. Okay, so we have a couple of questions coming in, and I'll give it a few more seconds for him to put his question in so we can take care of it now before we start. So just covering over what Noidum Hi5 VR GLOVE is. Noidum Hi5 VR GLOVE is a project that's been developed for a couple of few years. We've been in trade shows and conventions, traveling all over worldwide, sharing this technology with a lot of companies. A lot of excitement, a lot of requests for this product, and a lot of need for the full interaction with VR. So this is it's a very important product for us and for those who require some solution for full integration with VR. As we know, VR interaction has its limitations with interacting with objects and with the VR world. So with this, we have our solution with integrating your full finger fidelity inside of VR space. So let me go ahead and read the first question I heard. This question is coming from Ivan Cueto. Let's see what he says. So he's saying, what I would like to know if that you can create motion capture with that glove. I mean, for FBX or BVH export animation. So the Noidum Hi5 VR glove right now has plugins ready to go for Unity and Unreal. You create your game platform, and you bring in the SDK or the plugin into your game, and you create the package for it, and then your end user can use the gloves to interact with your game platform, your game system. So it is not yet designed for exporting to FBX or BVH. Right now, the VR glove is focused for VR integration for game, for training simulations, anything that is required as far as full hand interaction when you're handling VR, VR content, for example. So thank you again for asking that question. It's a very important question for a lot of our users. Right now it's for VR, for training simulation and game interaction. No features for FBX and BVH export. So let's go ahead and jump into today's session. Again, today's session is just overview of the Norton Hi5 VR glove. We just released this product this week. It has been on high demand and a lot of requests for a release. We're excited to announce that we just released this glove this week as of Monday, and the feedback has been overwhelming for this product. So we're doing this video sessions today so that we can cover all the questions out there, especially the unboxing and the features. So let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing so I can show you what comes in the box. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice when you get the Hi5 VR glove box is that it comes in this nice little box here that we have for you. There's a nice little red sleeve here. We have the logo on top. You can see it's Norton Hi5 VR glove with the business edition. We want to point out that this is a business edition, so any users out there regarding questions about using the system for for your own commercial use for other users and whatever integration adaptation, this is ready to go. It comes with a business edition license for those users. So let's go ahead and open the box. So once I pull the box out of the way, you'll see here that there's a nice little text here, reality at hand. And I hope you can, maybe just want to make sure I'm adjusting this so you can see the text there. So let's go ahead and open up the box here. So this is what comes inside of the kit. It's nice, well cushioned for the shipment, for when you receive the items. And then I'll pull the first glove. This is the left glove. You'll notice that the gloves have a little cardboard, very thin cardboard, just for cardboard paper that it keeps the shape of the hand during the shipment so that it doesn't lose its shape or anything like that. It's kind of the standard thing just to make sure it's nice and shipped well for you. I'll go ahead and open the rest of the items. And then we'll notice here that there's a little plastic bag in this package here. This little plastic bag is very important. It comes with several things, and let me make sure you can see that on the camera. So this plastic bag has several things. It has three important things. Number one, we have the dongle. Each Norton Hi5 VR glove comes with a dongle. You'll see the serial number here. This is a brand new one, hasn't been opened. And we also include two sets of bags for your glove, for your hand. So that's for that, you want to make sure that the gloves are kept clean and they're not, when you put them on, you can switch them off and on without getting the gloves dirty. So that is there for you. We also include like a little instruction guide. It has like a QR code so you can scan and go into our a quick start guide on our website. Also included with this, and let me make sure I pull this out for you, is this is actually an open sleeve here. So in this bag here, you're also going to get the little stickers. These are color-coded stickers. Now, the Norton Hi5 VR glove can be used in different frequencies. It can be customized. So when you have multiple gloves running into the game, you want to have different frequencies. You can actually use these labels just to organize the numbering of them or the coloring of them, so that you don't get them mixed up based on different dongles, different gloves. So you know which dongle belongs to the glove, and you have a good indication of what frequency it's set up as well. So that's very important for you there. And let's go ahead and open up the next card here that's included in this bag so that you can have a good idea. So like I mentioned before, this is the QR code. That'll give you a good indication of quick start guides when you visit that page, and a lot of our information for the plugins. On the back of the card, you're going to see here that these are it's just a product list of what's included in the box. So that's there for you. Okay. And then the next one I'm just going to unbox here is the right hand glove. So this is what we have right now. Let me make sure that you guys can see that very well. All right, there we go. So we have the left glove, we have the right glove, we have the stickers that are included, we have the quick start card that's included, we have the dongle that's inside of the plastic bag. So those are the most important things that you're going to receive with the Hi5 VR glove. Now, very important to note is that there's no Vive tracker included in this kit. Okay, we do sell the Vive trackers on our website. That's version 1. So that any of those who are asking questions of which version you are selling on our website, we're selling version 1 on our website for the Vive trackers. You're more than welcome to purchase Vive trackers from HTC Vive directly on their website. And you'll see here that there's on the gloves itself, there's a little, there's a placement that you can use with the HTC Vive trackers. And then it's just simply removing the Velcro here so that you can have a better access, and just unscrewing and screwing in the Vive tracker from the back so that it can stay put inside on top of the VR glove here. So that is the whole explanation of what comes in the box, and what's how to get comfortable with what's in there as well, with the whole setup here. You'll notice here on the little bump here that if you slide and open, there's a little compartment there for a AA battery. The Hi5 VR gloves operate with a AA battery. Okay, so that's nice and snug. And the other glove as well, it's a AA battery for that one. So there you go. And then that's the most important parts of the VR glove. So I'll leave that there for you so you can have a look. And today's show, just to kind of give everyone introduction as well. So we're going to be talking about the experience that we've been showcasing worldwide. Everyone who's tested out this experience has given great feedback, and we want to give you a quick overview of this experience with our Hi5 VR glove. So I will go ahead and shoot this over to our guest here, Alex Alvarez, and who is actually ready to go with our VR glove and HTC Vive. So let's make sure, let's confirm that he is good to go.
Yeah.
Alex, you're good to go?
I am good.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today. I know you're extremely busy, but you were so excited to join us today's show to introduce Hi5 VR glove. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. So what Daniel went through was the unboxing of the Hi5 glove. I have a pair with me already on, and you can see I have the Vive trackers Gen 1, like Daniel mentioned, AA battery in the compartment that we have. And so what I'm gonna walk you through is basically the process of having the Hi5s, connecting it to a computer, and starting off with what isn't released at the moment, but will be released very soon, which is the physics SDK. So some of the things that are included with the Hi5 at no charge are the Unity SDK, the Unreal SDK. We'll be coming up with a C++ SDK, the hand interaction SDK, and the physics SDK. And so what I'm going to show you today is the physics SDK. So inside of the box that Daniel showed, there is a dongle. Here's what I'm going to be using. That dongle is a 2.4G wireless dongle. So that's why we have different frequencies. So when there's multiple gloves in the same area, you could just switch the frequency, and that way you don't have any interference between the other gloves. So here in the back, I'm just going to connect this dongle to the computer that I'm using. If you have a USB extender for the HTC Vive, you are able to connect that directly to the headset. That also works. You just want to make sure you stay within range of the dongle so you don't lose any data while you're using the gloves. To turn on the gloves is very simple. There's a button on the left-hand side of where the battery is. Once you turn that button on, you'll see that you'll get a flash on the gloves. It'll turn green, and you'll hear a vibration. That identifies that the gloves are on and working. Similar to perception you're on, what you're gonna see is a breathing mode. Fast flashing means that you're okay and everything's connected properly. If the flashing goes to a solid state or starts breathing slower, that identifies that there's an area of magnetic interference. So it's kind of a visual cue for anyone using the gloves. So here in the back, I'm just gonna go ahead and open up the physics SDK. It's already set to go. I'm here in the room, and I'm gonna go ahead and put on my headset. Loading up.
All right. We are running this from a laptop, guys. So this is running off of 1060 video card MSI laptop that we've had for tours and demos. So it's running. It's the great thing about this. It's the portability of it. I think that's the most important. One of the most important things.
Great. So I can see that I am in the scene already. You guys will be looking at. So right here in the bottom, you'll see that my hands aren't moving or they're not moving around with me. That's perfectly fine because the first thing that I want to show you is actually the calibration process for the Hi5 glove. Anand Richards from our team in Beijing, with his physics SDK, he actually has 3 sample scenes within here, and the last one being the calibration. And the calibration is actually really important, and it kind of guides you through the steps that you need to do and what things you need to avoid when you're using the gloves. So immediately from the screen, it tells you things that you should stay away from: permanent magnets, computer and keyboards. I know you could see me going back to that computer, but as long as I'm not monitoring that or touching that for an extended period of time, it's okay. It is better to have someone operate with you the gloves so they are not magnetized. Speakers, home appliances, mobile phones, all things that we already let users know with perception neuron. This is the same technology. We're using inertial sensors. So those same things you have to be careful with. Oh, I'm really far from the, the camera, I realize. And also, you'll notice that it tells you, it identifies how much battery life you have for the left and right gloves, as well as if they're magnetized or not. So if I were to get to an area that has magnetic interference, that color will actually change. Let me see if I get close to the computer, if you'll see what that change looks like. So I put my right hand close to the computer, and you'll see that the light actually changes to orange. And that identifies that I'm in an area of magnetic interference. So now that I've identified my hub, my UI, I'm going to go ahead and navigate this with my headset. I'm going to go over to calibrate. It's just going to go ahead and go straight. And so you'll see that there's 2 poses. There's a B pose, almost like a Buddha pose, and there's a P pose. It's pinching. These are your 2 calibrations for the Hi5 glove. So very simple. You don't want to do any weird movements from side to side. It tells you that you have to go up and down. Not extremely fast, but you could watch as I do this right away. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over start. There's a countdown. And that's fine. My hands are still there. So I'm going to go over P pose now. Let me do that one more time. I'm just making sure that my gloves, oh, there's also, I did a very not smart thing, which was I never turned on my trackers, you know. It would help to have the full extent of the technology on as I'm doing this. So immediately turn on my trackers and my hands are working right now. So excuse me for that. But you could see that I went through the whole calibration process. I'm able to do finger touch. Move my hands. Everything seems good, you know, great posture. I could even interlock my fingers a bit. Remember that we're using IMU, so it's not perfect per se, but we are using the absolute positioning of the HTC Vive, so you're able to get really great positioning on where your hands are and great finger fidelity using our IMUs. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk over to the computer. I'm gonna switch to the first scene, which is where you get to see how the physics SDK really comes together. So Richard here established some simple things to grab and interact with. And one of the things that has been a problem is like when you're grabbing something in VR, you're touching it, you don't want your hands to clip or you don't want them to move around. So here very naturally I grabbed this sword with my hand. And you could see that even if I move my fingers around, it's great and I'm not clipping through through this object. So picked up a hammer, it feels very natural in the position that I'm grabbing this hammer. Now with the physics SDK, a developer could create an experience or create a scenario where they don't have to worry about the things that they're interacting and worry about clipping objects for their experience. So same thing with this gun that's over here, naturally fits into my hand, and even the trigger that I'm pressing now shoots the bullets that are in here. And we do have a built-in rumbler for the glove, so you are able to develop a sort of haptic feedback for your experiences. This is programmable, so depending on what objects you want to give feedback to a user or whatever experience that you have, you are able to do that. So I'm gonna shoot these things very Matrix-y and have them float away. As you can see, a little bit of target practice. I could throw this up in the air, catch it, and come back to it. I could dual wield both, it's okay. I could very naturally, like we have Skyrim, the beloved Skyrim that's in VR now. I could pretend I'm going through with my hands. Sword and shield. Chain links, one of the very cool things. I could go ahead and put my finger through it, have it float. Go ahead and put that back down. And there was Jenga here in the corner. I'm not great at this game in real life. I don't expect that I'm gonna be good at it in VR. I think I'm cheating.
I think that's a new interaction. I haven't seen this one. This looks really fun.
So here it is, dangling. Oh. Pick up the pieces.
And I gotta say, the first time we do this, it's gonna be something quite amazing to get not only to pick up objects, but just get that full immersion of the whole world, not just through what you're looking through, you know, goggles. You got the goggles on, but you're also using your hands and fingers to grab objects and play around with them. So this is something that's really unique.
Absolutely, I think. One of the common questions or that we'll get asked a lot, we've been asked a lot, is what's the benefit to using gloves versus a controller like a touch or what's out there with knuckles that'll be out in the future or the current Vive controller. And it's the fact that hands are so natural. It's what we use every day in daily life. And so once you're able to use your hands, you realize that everything that you're interacting with in VR becomes much more simple to use. And it's all a matter of how it's programmed, obviously, on the developer side, but using your hands gives you a sense of immersion that you didn't have before and a sense of realism. You know, especially on the training side, if you're a doctor, you don't want to try to be handling a controller. You want to be able to say that I could operate, you know, using the most minute movements and you know, really get a feel for the things that you're naturally going to be able to do in training and for simulation, of course.
Yeah.
You know, pilots and everything like this, it's very important to see your hands and the things you're physically interacting with.
That's right. That's right. So now that you've given that information, let's go ahead and jump and dive into the common questions we've gotten this week from a lot of our users who are very interested into the product. And we just want to cover them so that everyone can have a good, you know, understanding of what's going on. So for question number one, I'd like to come and just address, answer for everyone out there. One of the most common question is, do you plan on releasing a consumer version? The question is no at the moment right now. Alex,
yeah.
if
do you want me to jump in over here on this computer, or is that kind of like weird?
Feel free to do. You're free
like
to move around.
Side, like what if I scoot over here next to you? Is that like a
yeah?
like I'm over here, so you can see I'm still wearing the gloves,
So
not too far.
we're improvising here, and we're just going to the main camera here that we're talking here. So yeah, one of the biggest questions we're getting: are we going to release a consumer version of this?
At the moment, no. So as it's been announced on the website and what we've been telling people is that this is a business edition. I think the hardest thing for people to understand is that this hasn't really been done. And what I've told people is that out on the market, I think currently, I don't even think there's a handful. There's Manus VR that's out there that's using flex sensors. We're using inertial sensors. There's a handful of Kickstarter projects that are gloves from VR Glove to Glove 1. And some different gloves that were announced at CES. So this is really brand new technology. And so even at the price point for a business edition at $1,000, people have to realize that even when HMDs came out, they were very expensive. The HTC Vive came out at $800, and I could find it at $499. Similar with the Oculus headset that didn't come out with touch, and now it's $399 for both of those things. So as the technology gets out to the masses and the technology gets into the hands of more people, you'll start seeing the price of input devices go down. So I have full confidence that in the very near future, we'll be able to see a more consumer-friendly version of both our gloves and gloves in general. I think it's important to people to just get their hands on them and get their hands on the technology at the moment.
Yeah, we're definitely not. All the packages that we have in the store include all the plugins, Unity and Unreal. So right out of the box, you're ready to go with the development. And we're going to be supporting, the current updates, so it's, perpetual if you want to say that. We're not charging you for the plugins, for the next updates that are coming. So that's included. Once you get these gloves, you have our Unity and Unreal plugins. No license, nothing. It's already included by standard. So I want to thank our engineers out there that worked very hard to get this to work. I don't know if a lot of blood and sweat went into this, but I want to thank Richard out there. I want to thank Toby, our developers in Beijing, who worked into this. I want to thank Tristan as well, who is the CTO of the company.
And the brains of the Hi5.
He's the brains of this whole technology and bringing us out this. He's very excited to bring this to a lot of our users. And the team worked endlessly to get this out there for all of our users out there. So thank you for answering that question. So the next question is, does it only work on HTC Vive? Well,
if you're asking me. So at the moment, yes, just for the HTC Vive. In theory, no. When you consider the gloves that will have a C++ SDK in the future, really all that's needed is a optical tracking system. So we're not going to get into more detail or get too into specifics, but for example, even with our own proprietary LBE system, Project Alice, the Hi5 gloves will be able to function within that. Right. So really it's just a matter of having the optical tracking because the gloves are independent. So all you're using is the USB dongle. You connect that to any computer or HMD, and once that connects, your gloves are working. As you saw when I made the mistake of not turning on the trackers, my gloves were working. I just needed to turn on the trackers, and there it was. So for right now, yes, it is limited to the HTC Vive, but I wouldn't be surprised if something is announced in the very near future for external support.
Right. We definitely ask for patience with, we're getting a lot of requests for integrations with other systems. Right now, this is our first iteration with the integration of Unity and Unreal. That took months to develop and to fine tune. So as we get more, users on board, we're going to start looking at, the needs, the requests, and we'll go on, throughout the project that way. So just bear with us, be patient. Right now, this is first iteration. This is big news. So, I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate the guys who did the hard work on the back end of that. So the next question is, how many sensors? I'm skipping again. The question is, are you using flex sensors?
So like I mentioned earlier, we're using inertial sensors similar to perception neuron. Same foundation for technology. You know, our background has always been in inertial sensors, and we've really refined our algorithm and the way that we've been able to implement that with inertial sensors to give the best data possible for capturing human movement, whether that is full body for animation like perception neuron or for hand movement in the virtual reality space with the Hi5 gloves. So that's really where the foundation comes from, and we're using not flex sensors, inertial sensors for our gloves.
Awesome, thank you for answering that. Next question. How many sensors are you using?
I am using 7 sensors. The business edition has 7 sensors, one on each finger as you can imagine, one on the thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky, one on the palm, and then one closer to the wrist.
Okay.
So 7 sensors total.
Got it. The next question is for future updates included in Interaction SDKs, Physics SDK,
And C++.
and C++.
Yeah. So like I mentioned when I was doing the demo, going through the experience, currently out on release is the Unity SDK and the Unreal SDK. But I believe both support the latest version, and we'll be updating. At least for sure, I know that Unity and Unreal will both be updated sometime in April, as was the release of C++. The Unity, the Physics SDK, and the Interaction SDK, those will be released at a later date. Once I have information on that, we'll let everyone know. But those are things that will be continually included, and we will, of course, notify everyone once those updates are made.
Excellent, that's great. Yeah, a lot of things coming on board as we go along. So the next question is, how many concurrent users at one time?
Great. So one of the benefits of having the stickers in the packages is the fact that you could identify what pairs of gloves go to which dongle and what frequency you want to set each one. So there's an array of colors there, and so if you want to do multiple users in the space, currently support 5. It's been within our testing in a comfortable range. So 5 users comfortably, you won't have any interference, and so that at the same time, if you want to have an interaction, perfect for simulation, of course, or anything of that nature, 5 users at the same time is what we're currently supporting. Excellent.
Thank you for that. So that wraps it up with one of the most asked questions this week. I see that we have not got any questions yet through the live stream yet, but I'm gonna bring up a very important topic as well. Is that we have a help center there available for a lot of our users. If you have any questions out there, please check our help center that is located at support.hi5vrglove.com. We have a lot of topics there for you guys to just read through, make sure that we're not you covered all your bases. We also have, if you go to our website, we also have downloads page where you're going to find the SDKs, the plugins, and you're also going to find the manuals on that same page. There's also video there. The video that's provided there is for everyone out there who just received their glove and want to get started. I can't reiterate anymore that that page is very important so that you can understand how to get started. A lot of our users are brand new to this. When we first started testing out the gloves, we had a lot of questions, and sure enough, a lot of the questions were answered through the manual, the videos that were provided through us. So make sure you check over all the help center, the manuals that we provide on our website, and also the downloads that's in there. If there's anything missing, send us an email at support@hi5vrglove.com. We have support staff ready to answer any questions you have. If there's anything that's not missing, send us an email and we'll offer you support. We're open support here, so more than welcome to ask away as you will. So we have a question. Thank you. The question is 5 users with 2 hands?
Yes. 5 users with 2 hands. And that brings up a good point. If one, like Daniel mentioned, he did an unboxing, but just so you're aware, the boxes, each kit that you buy does come with 2 pairs of gloves, or comes with a pair of gloves, right? A left hand and a right hand. So you can't choose just to buy a left, and you can't choose just to buy a right. They both come together, and you are able to use both hands for 5 users. But you don't have to use 2 hands for 5 users, right? So really, depending on the experience that you want to create or use, you could just use one hand if you want.
Customize, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's good.
So that's one of the nice things. And also coming up, because I was thinking about some of the questions that I've been seeing circulating online, and it's the fact that it's a glove, and how does that handle to sweat or hygiene, which is pretty important. I've been wearing the gloves for quite some time now, and I've really comfortable. I don't feel like I'm sweating on the inside. The material is breathable mesh. It has been tested, it's been certified, so it's gone through its safety paces. So we've made sure that it's hygiene approved for people that are going to be using it, especially because we realize that this is more of a BE solution, a B2B solution. So we wanted to make sure that people didn't have to worry about going through any issues.
You know, we picked up these gloves on one of our trips that you can wear under the glove as well. So it's you also have the option to wear, you know, some kind of protective glove, so that if you're going to have users, maybe let's say for example you're going to have 50 users come in through your experience at one day, you would want to use something, you know, not like this, similar to this, or we have also like plastic clear bags, so that you can keep it, you know, just clean over the whole entire experience. You don't want to have 50 users on one day wear the same glove. You know, that's something that just to keep in mind for those of you who are going to have that kind of volume. I would also like to point out as well, this could be a very important question, is we have different sizes for the glove. Not one size fits all. Especially if we go from typical male hand to a woman's hand. So that's something that we want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. We have sizing on our website that if you have any questions regarding will it fit or will it not, we have different. We have a small,
extra small,
small,
and medium.
So we have guidelines of how to measure your hand, so you know which size to buy. So that's there for you. The gloves do not cover your whole entire fingers. It just fits up to the barely the tip.
Yeah, just around the tip.
Just around the tip
is what you're looking at.
Yeah. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility. So maybe you might have extended fingers, for example, and you have the question. All you have to check is the palm diameter and the circumference, for example. We have instructions on our website so that you can have a good idea what to buy. So let's wait a few more minutes for another question here. Anything else that we should bring up for our users coming on board?
I just wanted to highlight some of the things that the glove has. Can Carla go to that underhand view? Perfect. Thank you, Carla. So you could notice I have the blinking dot here on the side. I'm just gonna go a little bit higher. This is the power button. This is what I press to turn on the gloves to connect. If I hold that for 5 seconds, you'll see that it flashes and it'll turn off. And I could use one hand if I wanted to, so just my right is moving. And if I wanted to turn this back on, I would just go ahead and click onto that button, and it would start flashing again regularly. It vibrates onto my hand. If I wanted to take the glove off, we do have these 2 little snippets here that you're able to pull from, so it makes it easy to use. So you would just stick 2 fingers under, and you would pull, and you would take the gloves off. One of the cool functions that I want to showcase through the iterations that we've been doing is that the full glove is not just mesh material. We have this kind of soft straight material on top, and the reason we did that was to prevent any of the Velcro from the headset sticking onto the gloves. You don't want to mess the gloves up, and you don't want to have you know, as you're putting on the headset, your hands get stuck, and it just ruins the experience of what you're going through. So just this very simple design, as dumb as it may seem, really justifies and helps cater to the experience that you're going to be going through, either you developing or putting a user through. So I'm just going to take this off just to showcase what it is, and I could take off my fingers here. No extra gloves. It's very simple. I'm wearing a medium, just for reference.
Okay, cool. Thank you for showing that.
Thank you, Carla.
We also want to thank our producer here, Carla, who's behind the scenes doing the magic with the video. So thank you. So I'm just brainstorming here with what's going on with the events. Stay tuned for our events that are coming up. We're going to be going to shows, showing the product, demoing a lot of experiences as we go along. Now that a lot of users now have the glove in their production, in their hands. We're excited to see a lot of new projects that are coming on board. No longer is this going to be the trigger with a typical controller. We're going to start seeing experiences that are going to let users use all their gestures, if you will. So this is the next step to full immersion with VR. Not just with controls, so we're very excited with that. Our next show that we're going to be showcasing this is Laval Virtual. That's located in France.
Okay.
We're going to be also going to other shows coming forward, and we're going to keep you posted through our website, through our Facebook feed. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel so you don't lose these kind of videos. These are very important videos that we want to share with a lot of our users. I'm going to be introducing guests here. I have Alex coming in and out through the shows. I have Eddie also helping out, supporting with the show. So we do this for all our users out there. So thank you for those who are watching now and those who are going to be joining us later on, watching the recorded video of this. Anything else that we need to cover before we close out?
No, I don't think so. As you mentioned, I think events and shows are really important. Like you mentioned, Laval Virtual, anyone that goes out to France and is going to be there, you'll get an opportunity to try the gloves firsthand. I think for a lot of people, hands, and I was trying to explain to that a little bit to that while I was doing the demo, is we're so used to controls that you think that that's the only input or the right input that's needed for an experience or something that you're developing. And once you have your hands, or you have this body presence in VR, it really changes things and changes the perspective of what you're going through. I think it almost becomes surreal, or it almost freaks you out because you don't know what you can do. Right, it's kind of like I have hands, and you're so used to either using a keyboard, mouse, or like a joystick and controller, and now you're like, oh, I can actually touch that, or I can grab that, and it kind of freaks people out a little bit. And since we've been showing this since CES of 2017, we've had nothing but positive feedback, and the anticipation of the glove being released has just been at an enormous high, so really great.
I also want to bring up a good topic as well with, going with a lot of feedback from what users have experienced, is that when you're interacting with objects and stuff, you're opening the fingers, closing the fingers, it's tracking all that data. It's not a snappy, it's not a fast movement. There's limitations of other systems out there that you either have a 0-1 kind of feature, and that can kind of introduce a little bit of weird,
feels unnatural in a sense.
Feels very unnatural, And in VR, you don't want that. You don't want your users to experience some kind of like things that are off by by latency, or you're adding different tracking to it. You want to have that full fidelity. One-to-one when it comes to interacting with objects, because that reduces nausea, that reduces a lot of you don't want that with with your users. So this glove resolves that solution of, it's capturing every single rotation, every single movement that you do with your fingers, which gives it that full immersion of the VR. And a lot of people are gonna be, we want that to be the standard. We don't want to say, okay, we're just kind of bypassing and just doing a quick snappy finger 0-1 kind of feel. You don't want that. You want to have the full capturing fidelity of the finger. So that is one thing that I can say. It's harder to explain, but once you feel, once you put the gloves on and you start doing your VR interactions, you'll understand what I'm talking about, which is one of the best features out there.
I think it's very similar to, not to interrupt, but very similar to perception neuron. Again, it lies into the algorithm, right? It's some of the best human IK that you'll see developed for motion capture on an inertial system. You don't get this blocky movement that some other suits have. It's very natural the way that you move your bones and your segments. And if you were to do a pop movement, that will reflect in the data that you're getting. Very similar to what you're going to get in the glove.
Well, you want your users to experience your game. You don't want the users to start looking at, what's kind of funky here, what's going on. No, it's just you put on the gloves, you do the calibration, you get going with the game, and you start interacting with the object, because you start focusing on what's in the content, not the technology. And this gives it that feature. There's rarely any weight on the hands. You have that you're gonna feel almost like, it's hard to explain. You're gonna feel like that. You're just one-to-one with the VR world. So definitely for everyone to know, it's gonna be amazing. So those who are gonna be jumping on board, we want to thank the first users who have developed with the gloves. We have a couple of users that we're going to be showcasing some work in the coming future. And anyone who's developing games out there right now, let us know. Email us. We want to see your work. We want to share your ideas. We want to, let everybody know this experience. We're a company that like to share, this technology, and we want everyone to feel comfortable and share their content with, because every idea is small or big counts. This is a new technology that we're introducing to VR, and definitely share that with us. So it looks like we have another question here. So next question is, so do you actually feel an object when you pick something up with the VR?
So if you program, on the wrist, there's a programmable motor that you're able to use. If you program a certain object or the objects that you want to provide feedback, to do that, you are able to get that feedback. So I think a lot of people were asking very early on is like, why don't you do haptic feedback for each individual finger, or why can't you do that? And even when Daniel was mentioning just how natural you want your finger movement to be, you also want that to be reflected in the things that you're interacting with. And if you're going to be touching, for example, this computer in VR, and I'm going to put my hand towards it, and I touch this, and I get a beep 2 seconds later or a buzz, it completely breaks the immersion of what I'm doing. And the experience gets lost, and now I don't feel any more presence in what I'm doing. So we kept it simple with just a vibration. The things that you interact with will buzz if you program it to. So for the example of the physics SDK, when I was shooting the pistol, I was getting a vibration for every time I pulled the trigger. So that felt nice. It was almost like a slight recoil of what was going through. So yes, you are able to get some vibration as long as whoever is developing an experience or the experience you develop, you put that, you program the motor to interact with the thing that you want it to reflect.
It just all depends on your content and what you want to accomplish. There is that option to enable. So thank you for elaborating that. So the next question. Hello guys, VR Glove SDK, how stable is it with Unity, and how simple to interact into Unity? So before Alex inputs into that, as I mentioned before, our team that's been developing this SDK has worked endlessly, tirelessly, to get this user-friendly for a lot of developers, so that you don't have to break your head and try to do things from the ground up. So It's very easy to use. We've had one of our developers integrate the gloves into their game within, was it a day or two?
Yeah, so I think good example. I mean, we've tried to make it as simple as possible, and neither I or Daniel are programmers. But from what I've seen, I think the first kind of consumer game that has the Hi5 support is Climbing. So if you ask any questions about that, you could look at videos online. Just look up Hi5 VR Glove with Climbing. You'll see videos of Brian, the developer in Amsterdam, that's been able to do that. And so I believe it was a few days that he integrated the gloves right away, and he's quite a seasoned developer, has worked with the Knuckles, Touch, and so he's very experienced, but he was able to do that in a few days, and we've seen experiences develop from kind of sort of novice developers take anywhere between a month or so to get through to develop something full-fledged where you're able to have full interaction. So I've never been able to do it, but I have seen that it is simple enough that people are kind of like pick up and go to develop the experiences that they want. So I do feel that it is simple to get started with the Unity SDK as well as the Unreal SDK.
Great. As always, if you have any questions regarding how to use or something, any of that nature, send us an email. Again, there's a documentation online ready to go so that you can get started with the setup for a Hi5 VR Glove. We'll be in the works with doing a video tutorial just in a live setting so everyone can ask questions. Again, that's why I'm letting everyone know. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so that we can keep you posted on upcoming dates for upcoming videos. So I think that is.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention to Krill that the SDKs are available for free as well. So you could just go to the website, download it, and kind of take a glimpse at what it looks like. Even if you don't have a pair of gloves, you could kind of read through the documentation, see how simple the things are, and really kind of give you like a first-hand view before you even purchase the gloves to see how well it would interact with what you're trying to develop.
Excellent. Thank you for that. That's a good thing. We have that. We made it available for everyone out there, so you can just go ahead and give it a shot. Try, get comfortable with it before you purchase or anything like that. If you have any questions, again, just send us an email. So that is great. So thank you everyone for joining us this live stream. We're so happy to get people on board into this live stream and join us with the live questions and showing the unboxing, showing the interaction, sharing with you a couple of important questions, trying to cover all the bases out there for you. Till next time, we'll be in touch with everyone. Send us an email. Again, that email is support@hi5vrglove.com. So I think that's all for today.
That's it?
Yep, that's it, everyone. Thank you for everything, and we'll be in touch. We'll post the next video on Facebook or Twitter, all our social media feeds. So keep get connected with us through there. So thank you, everyone. Till next time, and happy coding, if you will.